Hello again. I am Subha, and in this video I am going to talk about heredity. So let's start the video. Heredity and common genetic diseases. Introduction. The progeny inherit the characters as present in the parent's genes remain at the root of all the characters present in an organism, and transmission of the genes through the gametes in the sexually reproducing organisms are the genes for characters in the offsprings of the parents. A variation that results through change in gene structure should be stable enough and should be cap of transmission from generation to generation. 3. Heredity. Heredity and variation. Living organisms are identified based on their phenotypic features. Those mostly appear due to the genetic constitution. In consideration to characters of the living organisms, it is observed that in some cases they resemble each other in spite of many differences. The members of a family, e.g., brothers and sisters from the same parent, are much alike than the members from different families. Taking some features into consideration as height of the siblings, color of the eyes, hair pattern and texture, the brothers and sisters resemble the parents. However, for many other features they are much different from each other. To tell the truth, except monozygotic twins, no two individuals are exactly alike with regard to their phenotypic features. The root cause of similarity between the members of the same family is inheritance of characters from parents to progeny, while the difference between the individuals of a family is the manifestation variation. At the present state of knowledge, the characters are mostly expressed by the activity of gene or genes, though in certain cases characters may have some environmental role with regard to its expression. It is therefore the genes those control both heredity and variation of characters in living organisms. In consideration to these facts, it is important to know about the genes controlling the expression of characters and the mechanism of the transmission from generation after generation. Definition of heredity. The passing of characters from parents to the offsprings is the heredity, and heredity is effected through transmission of genes from parents to progeny during reproduction. Heredity maintains the continuity of life and it helps in preserving species in nature. Definition of mutation. It is a permanent change of the nucleotide sequence of the genome of an organism. Mutation result from damage of DNA which is not repaired, or alteration may occur in chromosome structure or number by the process of replication or insertion or deletion of segment of DNA. Mutations play a part in both normal and abnormal biological processes including evolution, cancer and the development of immune system. Definition of variation. Variation may be defined as manifestation of the differences between individuals. It may be affected either through genetic alternation of the individuals, or it may also be resulted due to environmental pressure. However, only the heritable variations are important for evolution. Scientists behind the discovery of principles of inheritance. From the prehistoric period, people knew about the inheritance of characters and that the characters present in parents were inherited by their offsprings. Based on such ideas, primitive men started domestication of plants and animals. But how the characters in living organisms were controlled and inherited from one generation to the other was not known to them. It was Gregor Mendel who first carried out some methodical studies on pea plant, Pisum sativum, which led Mendel to discover some laws. Those may explain how characters are inherited by progeny from parents. Mendel was a monk in an Augustinian monastery at Brunn. He carried out hybridization experiments taking some contrasting features of pea plant in the monastery garden, and after 8 years of experimentation, he was able to come to some deductions on principles of inheritance. As he was the pioneer to Allele's mechanism of inheritance, he is regarded as the father of genetics. At first Mendel was not recognized for his discoveries, and only after rechecking of the Mendelian findings by Hugo de Vries, Carl Correns and Erich von Chemack in 1901, Mendelian discovery got recognition in the scientific world. This event is considered as rediscovery of Mendel. Owing this, many scientists of the post-Mendelian period contributed a lot, revealing many intricate phenomena of inheritance of characters in living organism. Among many S. Chromosome theory of inheritance by Sutton and Bovary, 1903, linkage theory X-linked inheritance by Th. Morgan, 1910-11, mutagenesis by H. Muller, 1928. So these are the concepts of that content. Now Shaly will teach you many terms that are associated with this.
Hey, I am Shaly and I will talk about the heredity. So let's start. Key terms associated with heredity. To understand heredity and genetic behavior, some terms are important, and these are very much associated with heredity. Several such terms are given as under. O. Character or traits, the morphological or physiological attribute of an organism. The characteristic feature of a character that is expressed in a living organism. Allele, alternative forms of a gene are called alleles. One allele is responsible for development of one characteristic feature, e, length of the stem, tall t, or dwarf it. Locus, specific site on a chromosome where a gene reside is known as locus. Unit of inheritance factor, gene, the indivisible genetic component that is responsible for determining a phenotypic expression is called unit character or unit of inheritance. Monohybrid and dihybrid cross, a cross between male and female individuals of a species considering contrasting features of one phenotypic character is called monohybrid cross, e.g. cross between a tall TT and a dwarf MP plant. A cross between male and female individual of a species with respect to a pair of contrasting features of two characters is known as dihybrid cross, e.g. cross between 2p plant with yellow round VYRR and green wrinkled seed RE-O homozygous and heterozygous organism. The diploid organism carrying a pair of identical genes for a character is known as homozygous organism. Homozygous organisms are also known as homozygous GO. To the diploid organism carrying alternative alleles of a character is called heterozygous organism. Heterozygous organism are also known as heterozygotes, e.g. TL. Hybridization cross involving organisms having contrasting features of a 5 known as hybridization, e.g. tall TT, P plant crossed with dwarf T, P plant produce hybrid 2, plant. Pure breeding variety and hybrid, the organism that produces its own kind with regard to a phenotype only known as pure breeding variety. Pure breeding organisms are also known as true breeding variety. Alternatively, pure breeding variety belongs to pure line category and they are homozygous in genetic constitution. Johnson introduced the term pure line. The animal or plant that is a product of different pure breeding parental organisms is known as hybrids. Reasons behind Mendel's success. That Mendel discovered the principles of inheritance was his success. The reasons behind this success are: the experimental material, the pea plant taken by Mendel is easy to culture and its generation time is reasonably short. Characters with their phenotypic expressions considered in Mendelian experiments are very prominent and visibly detectable. The experimental protocols of Mendel were well planned and the experiments were carried out with great care. Mendel did careful recording of the experimental results and he could always analyze.
Subscribe the channel for more videos, and like the video also. If you can't, then share the video.